I could make a short video or a long video, however this kind of takes, discussing the top 10 questions that I have been asked in the last couple of months that I think will benefit a lot of people. Question number 1. How do you set boundaries without feeling guilty? And the answer is honestly that you don't. You're always going to feel guilty first, and that's a natural response. But in the end, you will start to get used to putting your peace first and putting yourself first, and that feeling will go away with time. Also, you should know that boundaries are not meant to be mean, and they're meant to keep you safe and sane. You can't keep exerting over and over more than you can give to yourself to other people because you don't want to hurt their feelings. So you're going to have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Question 2. What's the difference between being burned out and just being tired? This is a great question. And I get this very often with what my coaching is really helpful and directed to. Being tired goes away by going to sleep, right? You get sleepy, you take a nap, you wake up, you feel better. Being burned out, you go to sleep, you wake up, you don't feel better. Nothing has changed. You are still overreactive. You still feel numb. You still feel groggy. It doesn't go away with just sleeping. It doesn't go away with the typical fixes that goes away when you just are tired. So that is the difference between that. And with a burnout, it is more than just exhaustion. It's emotional, it's mental, and it's physical. So it's more than one thing in one go. And that's what makes it so complicated for people to kind of overcome, is because it's affecting so many aspects of your life and you don't typically know which one to go first. Question 3. Why do I self-sabotage? Even when I really want to succeed. Ideally, it's because you are protecting yourself. Sometimes people self-sabotage because doing something new is scary, and being comfortable is more likely to be processed than being uncomfortable. So usually self-sabotaging it's a survival tactic, and the best thing that I can tell you to do is to realize when you're doing it and to stop yourself in that moment and ask, is this something that's really possible, or am I just fearful of unknowing? Am I fearful of where I might be going because I can't control it? But yeah, take the risk anyway. Start small. Don't overdo it. How do you deal with anxiety that comes out of nowhere? Okay. First of all, anxiety happens when you start to feel unsafe. So the first thing you need to do is to reassure yourself that you are in a safe space, that nothing is about to happen to you. No one is about to harm you. And then you need to do your grounding. And people say like this is so cliche, but ground yourself. Do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do the breaths. Sometimes, people casually put their hands like this. If you do, just slightly tap. This right here kind of helps like with that nervous system, and people don't even realize it. So if you're doing that, no one's going to think anything of it. You're just giving yourself a nice calm down, a nice pat. And typically anxiety is going to be random, especially if you're not diagnosed with chronic anxiety. But if you have anxiety, it's going to be random. You're not going to be able to control it, but you can control the way you think about things. And usually that just shows that you are in stress, or you're in a stressful mode, and you need to start to regulate yourself. You need to start to ground and get back control of your mind, your thoughts, your body, your emotions, and your breath. So start back with controlling the body. The mind will follow. Okay. I think I'm going kind of fast. We'll slow down. Question 5. Can you heal from trauma without talking about it in detail? The answer is yes. You can definitely heal from trauma without talking about it in detail. Sometimes when people talk about their trauma in detail, it re-traumatizes them, and that's just double the work. Not everyone is the same. Healing from trauma is not a one size fit all. It's not a fix that's going to happen overnight. But You are going to process that trauma. You will focus on your emotions, the patterns, and the coping skills, and not just a play-by-play of what happened. Not this happened. I want to talk about that. A lot of times people don't want to talk about the details. They want to talk about how they feel about it now. They want to talk about overall what happened and how it affects them today. So we don't have to do a play-by-play of what happened. Healing isn't always about reliving it. It's just about relearning and how to feel safe in your own mind and body, which is kind of what I said already. Question 6. How do you know if you're in a toxic relationship or just going through a rough patch? Okay, so a rough patch still has respect. A rough patch respects you as an individual. They respect the relationship. They're not verbally abusive. They're able to communicate with you, and it still fosters a sense of safety. A toxic relationship, oftentimes your self-esteem is at jeopardy. Your sense of safety is at jeopardy. Your boundary setting skills are poor. You can doubt your feelings. You can doubt your positioning. You can doubt the facts that are actually happening, going on. And overall, you just end up walking on eggshells. So that is the difference. And if the poor times, like the bad times, outweigh the good times, then ideally that's just not a relationship for you. I'm no one to tell someone to end their relationship, but I am for telling people to have some common sense. Have common sense. People value longevity and history and familiarity of relationships, but if it just don't work, it doesn't work. There are There are 8 billion whatever people on this planet. That one stinking guy is not going to be the end of the world. You will find another one. The most important thing is learning from those patterns so that you don't go back into that downhill slope or that pattern of picking the same kind of guy. I mean, the same thing can go for men. That's not just to women. Same thing. Learn the patterns of the people that you are picking. Have respect for yourself and your standards and stick to them. Don't let anyone convince you that your standard is outrageous. But have some discernment if your thing is outrageous. Anyways, question 8. How do you stop overthinking when you just can't let it go? This is a great question, and for a period of my life, I struggled with overthinking too. And the most effective thing you can do is not try to force it. But what you can do is redirect your mind to thinking or doing other things so that you will stop obsessing and overthinking over this one type of topic, person, scenario, whatever it might be, decision. That is one way you can do it. A lot of times I call it, someone told me about this, but I call it a word salad, right? And that's basically when you take everything that's in your head and you write it down on paper. And people might think that's so cliche, you know, we don't do these things anymore. And that's just because the technology has convinced you that you don't have to. But it works. This is like a scientific fact. So all in all, overthinking is just your mind's way of trying to control. And by default, you cannot control everything. You can't control people. You can't control places. The only thing you can control is how you think. Not necessarily how you feel, but how you feel and how you respond to things. So you have to place that overthinking and that fear or that need to control into the things that you can control, not the things that you can't. And that's a lot easier said than done, but that's the short answer. Okay. Question number 9. What's the healthiest way to move on from someone you still love? Okay. We talk about how to get in a relationship. We talk about how to be a good person in the relationship, how to vet a person to an extent. It's a learning curve, but we talk about all these things, but no one talks about how to get out of a relationship. No one talks about how to process the end of a relationship. And this goes with friendships, but also like romantic interest too. You're going to have to grieve. That is the verbiage of it. When you're going through a breakup and you're doing this crying, you're sad and you get all these intense emotions, you are grieving. And it's okay. And it's a natural process that humans have. We are social creatures. We like connectivity with other people we agree with, people that live the same lifestyle as us. We like to be with other people, and it's okay to grieve. Grieve who you thought they were going to be. Grieve who you wanted them to be. Grieve the lifestyle you thought you were going to have with them. And then once you do that, go ahead and create you some distance. Don't overthink it. Just put distance between you and that person. Whether you have to block them, unadd them from social media, whatever it might be. Moving is a little hard in this economy, but it's a necessity. You have to get from around the thing that's hurting you. Because some people get into that cycle where they feel like, this is the thing that's hurting me, but I feel most comfortable being around this thing that's hurting me. And that's a whole different topic, but you need to get away from that person. And then while you're in that grieving space, you can remind yourself every day that loving someone doesn't always mean that they are in to stay in your life forever. Everyone has a season and everyone has a purpose. Some seasons are longer than others. Some seasons are just here for a good time and not a long time. Know what season that they are in and that you can love them from afar, but you need to love yourself more. And question number 10. How can I feel more confident without faking it? Do things that build trust with yourself. Feeling confident is an internal thing. You can't care about what people on the outside care about, what they think, or anything like that. You need to commit to taking care of you. You need to commit to doing the things that you like over anyone else. If you're gonna wear that outfit, baby, wear it to your best ability. You want to take that class, you want to start a new hobby, do it. Because no one else's opinion should ever matter about what you find joy in when it comes to living your life that you are working so hard to keep, right? And I want to talk on the pretending. You don't have to pretend to be confident. You don't have to fake it till you make it, right? Having confidence is built. There's no pretending to it because you're actually doing something, right? Having confidence is something that is built, and the only way it can be built is by doing.